Hey, it's Brock here from Rock Hill Farms, and today we're starting on the first major project on my son's new Jeep. And when I say new Jeep, I mean his beat-up, 24-year-old, as cheap as we could find it, Jeep. It's a 1999 TJ, and the project we're doing today is painting the entire interior. We're going to strip it down, remove all the carpet, all the seats, and everything. We're going to take the dash out, the panels off the doors. Then we're going to paint it with this Raptor protective coating, which is really more like a bed liner. Then for all the vinyl on the dash, we're going to use SEM Color Coat. None of these products are sponsors or anything I'm affiliated with. Just from my research, these were good products to finish out this Jeep. So I'm really excited about it and ready to get started. First thing I want to do is a before and after and show you the condition it's in right now. All right, so if we open up the door here, get a look inside. These door handles are really hard to open. They're stiff. You got a screw coming out here. So we've got this kind of dingy, outdated interior. It's got carpet with floor mats. Oh, that carpet looks awful. That's covered up by the floor mats though. The lighting in it, these are tiny and so dull. They don't provide really any light. It's got all this brown interior that I don't like. We're going to change that to black. We're going to do all the floors in black. The seat belts are really hard to open. And then the back is the same kind of interior. This back hatch doesn't open at all. You can tell that this isn't moving anything, so we're going to have to take the top off and figure out what's stopping that from working. All right, so we've got our work cut out for us. I think the first thing we want to do is take the top off. Last time you guys were giving me a hard time because I said we were doing this project father and son working together, and I was doing all the work on camera, so I'm making him do something this time. So we just found the craziest problem since owning the Jeep, and I'm getting ready to show you. There are supposed to be one latch and 6 bolts that hold this top on. 3 on each side at the bottom and the back, they're Torx bits, and then a latch on the front top on each side. I'm going to take the 2 fronts loose and then show you what we've got. So on this side, where we're supposed to have 3 Torx bit screws, we have 2. On this side, we only have 1, and it's broken around it. It is not that far from this hardtop coming loose on one side and banging around like that. So we're gonna have to fix that for sure. We're supposed to have 6 of these bolts. Well, we only have 3. I already mentioned that out of the 6 bolts we're supposed to have, only 3 of them are there, and they're completely rusted. We've been soaking them in a penetrating oil for the last 10 minutes. We got 1 of them out. The other 2 won't come out. And we've tried, the top is stripped. You can't put a Torx bit in there at all like you're supposed to. It won't, they're stripped. And we can't even turn them with vice grips. So I'm going to have to cut these off, and we're going to have to find some other replacement bolts. Okay, so it's all the way back here in the corner, and I don't have much access, and obviously I don't want to grind into this material on the hard top. So I was debating with a grinder, maybe a recip saw. I'm going to try this little cutoff tool. It'll get in there better than anything else, but it's going to cut through that really slowly. Well, that sucked, but it's disconnected, and I found a bolt kit that has some bolts that'll get us back on there in the meantime if we have to order something that's better to hold the top down. Now, I suppose we're ready to lift this off. Now, I haven't lifted off a hardtop in 10 years, but I remember it being a pain. And in this case, we can't open the back gate, which I usually did before, because the latch is broke, so I'll have to lift it over the tire. Lifting this off is not terrible if you've got 2 people to do it and the conditions are good. But you're not always going to have 2 people. My son may want to go somewhere and it's going to rain and needs to get this on or off by himself. So I've got 2 different options coming
for removing hardtops, and I'll be comparing those in future videos.
That wasn't any fun, but she's a beaut, Clark. I hope Clark's always watching when I say that. Next thing we want to work on is getting the back hatch to open. There's a lever down here that lets the seat pop forward. Roll it up and up. This has what I believe is like an aftermarket trunk. It like keeps your anything you leave in the Jeep with the top off, kind of protects that stuff. I don't think that's stock Jeep. I'm pretty sure that's added. For practical purposes, I think most of the time he's going to keep the seat folded up, and we're probably just going to remove this little cubby thing here. But what we've got right here is a dent in the back where that looks like they probably backed into something. And then this is broken. So I think the first thing I want to do is lubricate all of this. Hit it with some Rust Patrol. See if that helps, but I think we're going to have to take this cover off. And we'll get a lot more room gained if we take this whole thing out. Even if he wanted it, it needs to be removed for the painting. Okay, now he's taking the torque screws out of that rear locking mechanism, and we can try to figure out what's broken back here. There are, looks like 7 screws in it, and that takes the cover off and at least lets us look at the mechanism. Alright, so taking this loose doesn't help us because it won't come out of here, and I can't get this to open.
You got it. You got it. That definitely felt.
So one of our major projects was getting this to open and close. And just all we've really done is take everything loose, blow everything out of here, and then spray it with Rust Patrol. There's actually just a couple clips that hold the seat, and then you can push it one way and back the other way and pop it right out.
Okay. Got the back already removed. This is all one piece right here.
Yep. Try to fold it where that picks it all up inside there, and I can take it over to the trash can and dump it.
Okay, cut it like that. Oh yeah, that's nice.
Isn't it better already?
Yes, because that is so ugly.
What's really nice is that it's not rusted, which means we don't have to do rust treatment and grind it all down, and we can just sand it a little bit and then paint it.
We were gonna sand it?
If you take smooth, glossy, nice looking paint and then paint over it, the paint doesn't stick. You have to rough it up so that the paint sticks. There's a CB setup on here. It's bolted onto the top, and it's got all these wires and stuff. We're going to take all that off. He's not using a CB.
Yes. That's everything.
Anybody need a bar that goes across the top of the Jeep and a CB? We're trying to unbolt the front seats now. The bolts are really tight, so we've got them soaking in penetrating oil. Let's see if I can get the carpet out without taking them out. It's got drain plugs up here, and it's got minimal rust. You can see a little bit of surface rust here, but nothing to be concerned about. This is going faster than I thought it would, and we're going to have this tore down and ready for paint pretty quick here. To remove the seats, all we've got to do is remove 4 bolts, 1 in each corner. 3 of them are a 13 millimeter. The 4th one is a T50. We had a hard time getting the seat out. The seat is supposed to slide forward, then pivot up, and we could not get it to pivot up, and had a hard time figuring it out. I think there's a cable that is supposed to be connected right here that runs up and trips a little release, but it wasn't doing it. So we had to reach under the seat, and I found this little tab that you can pull, and it releases and lets it flip up. And those bolts were really seized up. Took a while to get them out, but they're out now. We got the passenger seat ready to come out. What you've seen so far was day 1. We're doing this painting as a weekend project, but we're trying to get prep work done after he gets off school. So we've got a couple hours to work on it here on day 2. We've backed the Jeep in this time. We're going to set the hard top behind us and start stripping things down. Then we're going to pressure wash it. But right now we have a new problem. because the passenger side door won't open. There's a lock stuck. I think we're gonna have to take the door panel off and see if we can figure out why it won't unlock. So the first project for day 2 was taking the top back off. Then all of this hardware, like right here is seat belt buckles that are bolted to the floorboard and brackets for the seats. All of this hardware needs removed for the painting. Next thing I'm thinking about is when we took the carpet out, there's a warning thing, and I'd heard this before, but there's a big yellow sticker that said, don't use the Jeep without the carpet. The carpet is there to block heat from coming up through the floorboard. And not a problem in the winter like it is now, but for summer, we don't want that excessive heat coming up through the floorboard. So I need to figure out something. I'm wondering how hot it gets. Will just a regular rubber floor mat block that heat and make it fine? I know that there are high-dollar, form-fitted, heat-insulated, noise reduction floor mats, but I don't think I'm looking to spend money like that on it. We're already spending quite a bit just on what we're doing now. So I'm going to do some research on that. If you guys have any experience with how to deal with removing carpet from an old Jeep, because there was no scenario where we were keeping that carpet. It was disgusting. It's 24 years old and it's just time for it to go. And I'm also not buying new carpet for it. So we're going to figure something out. All of these bolts are rusty and stuck, and they're large diameter, and certainly you don't want to strip something out in the frame of the Jeep. So right now I've got Gage using Rust Patrol, which is one of my favorite products. I'm friends with the owner of the company, and it's a rust inhibitor, a lubricant, and a penetrating oil. It's been doing a good job of helping us get these bolts out. I'll put a link in the video description where you can get Rust Patrol if you're interested. So I need to take this door panel off to get the lock to operate. We used to have a Jeep YJ, and we didn't have to do anything like this. It seemed like it was a little more simple, but for this one, apparently there's a retaining clip inside the handle for the door, or for the window handle, and you've got to insert some kind of a little pry tool in there and get that hold of that clip and pull it out. I watched another video showing how to take this off, and they used a little pick tool like this. I messed with it and couldn't get it, but if you pry out on the handle and you rotate it, eventually you'll see some of this little clip, and then I just pushed down on it with a screwdriver and got it to pop off. Once you've removed all the screws, it's just a matter of prying it out, which is not necessarily easy to do. It's got the kind of push-in fittings, little clips. There's one. So now, the door lock mechanism is right here. I'm going to cut a hole in this plastic so I can access it. And then afterwards, we'll use some Gorilla Tape, the kind that's like the Flex Seal, to put this back on. Alright, so I have saturated all of the lock mechanisms with Rust Patrol. I don't know how to do this, but when I push the lock mechanism, lock and unlock, it's moving. Whenever I pull the handle, I see the mechanism move. Yep. All it needed was some lubrication. I couldn't get that lube down to it without taking this apart. So he is exhausted. He's talking, he's removed so many bolts and they're all hard to get out. It's been a hassle and a pain. So, well, there's only 4 bolts left out to get out. I guess I'll get the impact. It wouldn't have been any fun to do them all that way. Well, broke it off. Really, it's perfect for larger diameter.
Well, that one I broke off because it started with that one.
These are the 2 bolts that broke off. And we're not going to deal with those right this minute, but we will have to deal with them.
I had to drill both of these bolts out, and I actually published a separate video a couple days ago just removing those bolts.
I actually got this new electric power washer. Came in today. It's gonna be really convenient for this. Almost forgot we want to cover the dash with plastic. We'll be doing a much better job of this whenever we are actually painting. Okay, so we're on to day 3, and we're getting close. The goals today is to scuff and scratch up and sand all of the paint inside the tub. So I'm giving my son scouring pads, a palm sander, and a grinder with a wire wheel on it. And he's going to be sanding the back area, and I'm going to be taking the dash apart. The entire dash won't easily come apart, but a lot of it will. So any panels that come off easily, I'm going to get those taken off. Definitely making some good progress tonight. And we're going to call this a day. We've sanded the entire inside. We've taken all the dash apart. And it's about ready to paint. There's a few more things I've got to do before we actually start spraying the bed liner. But I feel great about the progress we've made. It's been fun to be out here working on it. And I think we're going to wrap the video right here. And the next video, which will be out within a few days, should show this Jeep completely repainted on the inside, plus all the upgrades that we're making, which I haven't really told you what they are, but we'll have all the upgrades done too. So I appreciate you taking time to watch the video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.